Welcome back to another build guide. Today we have the Icy Shadow Twisting Blades Rogue, and I have to say this has to be the most fun and satisfying Twisting Blades build I've played yet, and is capable of handling tier 70s. In the gameplay, I wasn't running an extra defense aspect on my amulet, so the tier 79 was a little bit rough, but the build is still capable of doing them. Low to mid 70s feel pretty good, still having the occasional death here and there, you can run them pretty easily. When we get into aspects, I'll mention some alternatives for more survival to handle the upper 70s. Quick note for the build, the unique boots, pendant, and greaves, they are required or else the build just won't function. The playstyle of this build is to just dive every pack of trash mobs and elites and not really have to worry, because if they're not getting one shot, they'll be instantly frozen. For higher tiers, you do have to play a little bit safer. By using the aspect Icy Alchemist, we essentially just get Shadow Imbuement and Cold Imbuement into one, allowing for crazy crowd control and super safe diving. So as for the skills and skill rotation, we'll be using Shadow Imbuement, Dash, Twisting Blades, Poison Trap, Dark Shroud, and Puncture. Now Dark Shroud can be subbed out for Shadow Clone or Shadow Step, but I'm pretty stubborn and I like my movement speed from Dark Shroud too much to drop it. However, if I do get a better amulet with movement speed, I'll probably drop it for Shadow Step. Boss damage isn't the best with this build, but you can swap Dark Shroud out with Shadow Clone, and that gives us some pretty nice boss damage. The skill rotation, we'll be using Shadow Imbue, Twisting Blades the first mob, dash through the pack, having the blades follow behind, and then go back in for the cleanup for what didn't die and is frozen. Use Poison Trap for extra crowd control and damage for elites, or as needed. If you are running higher tiers, the optimal usage of Twisting Blades with Shadow would be to hit a mob with the Twisting Blades, wait for the Twisting Blades to come back to you and start spinning around before you dash into the pack for more consistent freezing. Onto the gear and stat priority for this build. My gear is not perfect and has room for improvement, but here's what I'm currently using. On the helmet, we want life, armor percent, cooldown percent, and ideally ranks to Shadow Imbuement. I wasn't able to get a helmet with those exact stats, so I settled for basic attack speed. And the aspect cheats. Our chestplate, go for life, damage reduction from close, and damage reduction from distant with the aspect disobedience. For our gloves, get ranks to Twisting Blades, crit chance, attack speed, and our final roll, we want critical damage with imbued skills, or alternatively can get lucky hit for the 4 stat. And the aspect we want is accelerating. The pants get life, damage reduction from close, and damage reduction from distant with the aspect might. And for the boots, of course, we're going to be using pendant and greaves. As for our jewelry, on our amulet, get damage reduction, dex percent, ranks to weapon mastery passive, and our last stat can either be another damage reduction roll, movement speed, or cooldown percent. Now, because I'm an addict to attack speed, I went with rapid on the amulet, but this really is overkill on basic attack speed. So in place here, put Edge Masters or another defensive aspect such as Umbros. Our rings, we want life, crit chance, crit damage, and vulnerable damage, with the aspects energizing and Edge Masters. If you're not using Edge Masters on the amulet, go ahead and put rapid here, or expectant if you don't care for the attack speed. As for our weapons, on our crossbow we want crit damage, vuln damage, core damage, and dex with the aspect Blade Dancers as normal. Our one-hand sword get crit damage, vuln damage, core damage, and dex with the aspect that brings this whole build together, Icy Alchemist. And yes, I know, condemnation yet again. However, you can replace this with another one-hand sword with the stats that are the same as listed before with the aspect Expectant. As for the jewels, we are going to be changing them up a little bit, and you'll see why in this skill tree. But we're going to be doing 2 topaz and 3 ruby in our armor, emerald and skulls in our weapon and jewelry as normal. So as for our skill tree, we're going to go ahead and pick up Puncture, Twisting Blades as normal, 3 into Sturdy, 3 into Siphoning Strikes, 1 point into Rugged, 3 into Reactive Defense, and this is why we're taking 3 of the Topaz jewels out of our armor, replacing them with Ruby. We could get enough of the damage reduction while inflicted with control impairing effects from here, so the extra life just feels better. We're going to pick up 3 points into Weapon Mastery, 1 into Dash with Enhanced Dash. If you're playing with Dark Shroud, go ahead and pick up Dark Shroud here. 1 into Exploit, pick up Malice, pick up Poison Trap, 3 into Precision Imbuement, and then we're going to pick up 1 point into Shadow Imbuement with both the small notes here. We're not going to take Consuming Shadows because we have enough energy sustain, and it just feels like a waste of points in my opinion. 3 into Frigid Finesse, 3 into Innervation, 3 into Alchemist Fortune, 3 into Trap Mastery, 1 into Adrenaline Rush, 3 into Haste, and Close Quarters Combat. Now you can swap between Close Quarters Combat and Momentum, if you're feeling a little squishy and want that damage reduction. Or you can also pick up Victimize for even more explosions, but I wouldn't recommend it. As for Paragon Board, now it does look different. I just changed the order that we place the boards in, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Some of the small rare nodes are different. I will have the link to the D4 builds in the description below where you can take a look at it, but other than that, not much has changed. And that sums up today's build guide. Let me know what you think of the build, or if you have any suggestions on how to improve it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this build guide and want to see more, leave a like and subscribe. That's all for now. Have fun and take care.